Hello everybody, this is Danny and Wanda from Deepsouth Homestead.
We're over at the cabin, our off-grid cabin, and we're shelling English peas. We've been up. What time we get up? Early.
We got up at 5 and I started breakfast at just a few minutes after 5. We was in the garden by 6 easy.
And we picked the English peas. I weeded a few of our green beans. We picked cucumbers.
Snap beans, squash.
And
I put phosphorus to all the tomatoes, to the snap beans, green beans, whatever you want to call them, squash, peppers. I picked the greenhouse.
you watered the corn.
I watered the corn.
And I picked the blueberries, huckleberries. And I didn't get all the huckleberries, guys. I only got one bush, and it was loaded behind the smokehouse back here. But I've still got bushes at my house over there on the sidewalk to go. I picked the blackberries, the Arkansas Travelers, and the blueberries. So I've got all that done. Fed the chickens. You fed your animals, right?
Yep, I fed the cows. I watered the cows. Oh man, it's just...
So it's time for us to sit and relax, and our relaxing is...
And let me tell you something.
English
it's
people.
just now 9:30.
Y'all still with us?
Yeah, we're like the Army. You know, our military. We do more before 9 o'clock in the morning than most people do all day.
Yes.
But the thing about it is, now it's already hot. We're able to sit here under the shade of the porch. The breeze is blowing. We're able to sit here and shell our English peas and be done with it.
And just enjoy the day and talk. And we thought we'd do a cabin update video. We've got, I'm not sure if the videos we got coming up on some of the projects of the cabin will be before this or after this, but we got quite a few.
Got quite a few.
It's just that Wanda's editing skills is
it's
slow right now because of the time.
Yes, I think they have more time than it is anything else.
I don't have enough time to sit and edit all day, so it's getting one or two up along.
What we'd like to do is to share with you all a few things that we've learned about off-grid living. and
what we're doing to fix what the problems we find.
Well, to make life as comfortable as we can.
Yeah.
It's not about being just like it is with electricity, but I tell you what, all jokes aside, we're coming really close.
Yes. And one of the things, we've been staying over here off and on for a year now. We started this cabin in February of last year in 2019. And as soon as we got a roof on it and some walls around it, Danny and I spent our first night here. So it's coming up. Probably this month was a year ago we spent our first night at the cabin. And from that point to now, we figured out there's a lot of things that we wanted. There was things that we didn't want. And one of them, Danny kept saying, there's something missing, there's something missing. He figured out what was missing in the cabin this week.
You know, when you go into a house, it just has a certain smell to it. Well, the cabin, you have to understand, it's brand new. And when we go in, that's all we smell is new. And I told Wanda, I said, something is missing. And I just, I couldn't put my finger on it. Last night, Wanda and I sit over here and we grilled 2 big steaks. Wanda cooked some potatoes and green beans and all on the rocket stove, and it took a little while to do it, so we got dark on us.
And we couldn't sit outside.
We couldn't sit outside. Mosquitoes had done got bad, and plus we decided, you know what, this is our cabin. Let's just go inside and eat in the cabin. So we went inside and we sat at the table and was sitting there eating, and it hit me. I said, I know what's been missing at the cabin now. It's the smell of cooking food inside the cabin, because we don't cook anything in the cabin but breakfast at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it really doesn't leave a scent. because we're just cooking eggs and, you know, heating a bagel or biscuit or something like that. We're not really cooking any meats or anything like that. But the smell of those potatoes and green beans and that steak and all that stuff, just kind of, the aroma in the cabin was so inviting. I told her, I said, oh my gosh. She said, what? I said, this is what's been missing. And she's like, what? I said, the smell of good food inside the cabin. I said, that's what makes a home smell like a home.
You know, when you walk into somebody's house and they just made fresh made bread, you know that smell. When you walk in and you smell fresh made bread, you're like, oh, your house smells amazing.
Or during the holidays when everybody's cooking and they've got cookies and hams and they got all kinds of...
All the smells just meshing together. And, and or you walk in and somebody's just put on a fresh pot of coffee.
Oh yeah.
Things like that was what was missing.
That's what was missing.
Because we're only over here at night, out in the morning. We're not staying during the day. Danny's in and out working.
I'm in here working.
But it's different when you're working.
Yeah.
So we figured out the one thing that was missing from the cabin was home cooked food inside the cabin.
The smell of home food.
Well, it really wasn't cooked in the cabin.
No, but the smell was still there.
Yeah.
Now, it probably would have been a lot more intense
if we'd have cooked.
If we'd have cooked it in there, but we don't have a way to cook it inside. And now a lot of people go, oh, well, you could just use gas. Well, not really, because I have an issue with gas. I can be around a gas stove. Doesn't matter where it's at, what's going on. If I get around it, I start getting lightheaded.
He smells the gas regardless of whether
it's leaking or anything like that. It affects my senses, and I get very lightheaded and I get very dizzy. So we can't have gas inside the cabin. Now we've got it outside.
And when I cook outside on the little gas stove we have outside, when he gets around it for just a minute, he can smell it because it's coming up through the flames. I mean, you don't know, most people don't even notice it. I don't notice it.
Gas is out of the question for us.
But we did get a 2-burner, just hot plate, cheap, $30 hot plate, put it in there. He takes his generator, he turns it on in the morning, he cooks on a hot plate inside. We were cooking in the fireplace, but it's getting a little
too warm for that now.
A little warm to cook in the fireplace.
Too hot for that.
And since Wanda doesn't cook breakfast, if it was me, I would get up, come outside and use the gas. But again, he doesn't like using gas. So we compromised. And the problem we have is we don't want to spend a lot of money in gas, electricity, all this stuff. So we're figuring out how to do it without having too much money. Like, we want the stuff in place that we don't have to spend money every day using.
Right.
Now the generator, you put 5 gallons of gas a month ago?
A month ago I put 5 gallons of gas in this generator back here, and I use this thing every day. Not all day, but I crank it up if I'm sawing a board or something. Now, I do have a battery-powered skill saw, but if my battery goes out on my skill saw and I need to be able to finish cutting a board, I use it for that. I use it to run sawzalls. I mean, different things around inside the cabin here. Cooking breakfast in the morning, running the 1800-watt 2-plate burner thing. I use it for that in the morning about 15 minutes. It takes me about 15 minutes to cook breakfast. So, with all that, the generator has been used. It's been a month since I put gas.
It's been around a month.
Because we bought gas and put in it and topped it off before the COVID-19 thing got to be a big deal.
And the deal is, this is an older compressor.
One thing we've learned, and this is something we need to share with you guys, if you're living off-grid.
Well, 2 things. One thing is it's very loud.
Yes, this is an old one. It's loud. This thing's probably what? Oh gosh, I've had this thing for. I used it in the construction business, so I know it's been.
So it's loud. That's
probably
one thing.
15 years old. That's a Champion, and it's good. It's an 8,500-watt Champion. Now, something we learned yesterday. I finally got the cabin hooked over to where we can run the whole cabin off of our Blue Eddy solar generator thing.
The lights. Now, he's not talking about plug-ins and lights.
Plug-ins and lights. We don't have refrigerator. We don't have none of that over here.
We have no appliances.
And no appliances, but we're running the whole cabin light-wise off of that generator and plug-ins and everything.
Off a Blue Eddy, which is a solar generator.
Yeah.
But he
Well,
wanted
let me
to
correct
test
something. We're going to be corrected on that. Somebody's going to say that's not
Yeah.
a solar generator. There's no such thing. It's a power station. Okay.
Yes.
So let's just use the word power station. It's a 1,500 watt-hour power station
Yeah.
from Blue Eddy. Guys, I'm so happy with that thing because with it hooked up the way we're going to have a video on this. I think we're probably coming up
Sometime.
I don't know.
Maybe this week.
I showed how I wired this thing into that cabin and run the whole cabin on this thing. So we don't have to.
Lights. We have a ceiling fan.
We're running ceiling fans, lights.
Regular lights.
Yeah.
So we don't have to have candles. We don't have to have kerosene, which is dangerous. We don't have to use. We've got the 12 volt, and so
Yeah.
if one doesn't work, the other does. We have it hooked both ways, so we shouldn't have to be without power.
We shouldn't have to be without
We
lights.
don't have to buy. Somebody's going to say, well, you have to charge the Blue Eddies. Yes, we do. We have a rock pile and we have a couple of Blue Eddies. We have a solar panel out, and we're going to get another one that charges these. So we don't have to go to the house and charge them. We can
No.
charge them with the
Matter
sun.
of fact, there's one out there charging right now.
Yeah, charging in the sun. So that doesn't cost us anything. So we're figuring out how to do things in the future that won't cost us a lot of money.
Now, what have we learned here? We've learned that if you have an older generator and you want to go off grid, don't buy LED lights. Because the older generator and LED lights don't go together. You need one that has the sine wave, that is a sine wave one. Something that keeps a steady flow of electricity. I plugged that sucker up yesterday when I finally got through wiring this cabin up. And I turned on the lights in here. And guys, it messes with your head. It's like a strobe light effect.
He thought he was in a disco.
I thought I was in a disco. All the LED lights in the house were sitting here just steady flashing. And I said, oh my God, what have I done wrong? And I went back through the system right quick mentally. And I said, I didn't do anything wrong. What's happening? And it dawned on me.
And
I said, this thing is a pulsating electricity. It doesn't have the sine wave like where you can run computers and sensitive electronics and things like that.
the Blue Eddy is sensitive.
The Blue Eddy is that
But
way.
now this old gas generator is not.
Right. So if you're going to go off grid and you plan on using LED lights
And a gas generator.
and a gas generator, you want to get a new one that is designed for computers and stuff like that, so that you don't have to worry about that pulsating electricity.
Well, we
going
might
to
say
it.
that about the little power stations too, because we have one power
We have
station.
one power station that's that way. It is a what is that thing called? It starts with a V. Viper. It's a Viper, 150 watt. I hooked it up to the kitchen under cabinet lights, which are LEDs, and them things went to flashing, and I was like, oh gosh, and I undone it, and I said, it's 150 watts. I mean, we should pull this with no problem. I hooked up the Blue Eddy 300 watt one, the Rock Pal 300 watt one, just as smooth, beautiful. I was like, now that's weird.
But he didn't figure it out till yesterday.
So yesterday is when it hit me. So lesson one, if you go off grid and you plan on using LED lights, make sure you're using a gas generator, or make sure if you use a workstation like that, the power station, that it is designed to be used with LED lights. And also one of the things I found out yesterday, not all LED lights are dimmable. So I had to actually take some of my dimmer switches out and put regular switches back in because they were not dimmable.
So, live and learn.
We live and we learn.
And we're learning that it's quiet here, it's peaceful. We sleep so much better.
Oh gosh, do we sleep good.
We're usually in bed by 9:30, and it's just peace and quiet.
I mean, let's just be honest. Yesterday evening we cooked 2 steaks, had potatoes, green beans on the silver fire
Rocket stove.
and the dragon pot.
Yeah.
Wanda and I siested for a little while there, just kind of sit around for a few minutes, and she looked at me and she said, do you want some ice cream?
We're off grid. We have no refrigerator.
We have no refrigerator. And I'm like, nah. I said, we ain't got no refrigerator. She says, no. She says, let's just run to the house, get us some ice cream, and come back over here and eat it.
So if you're off grid, you got to figure that one out.
Yeah. So
we've got a little refrigerator coming.
we have one coming.
It's
yeah.
a 12 volt, and we're wanting to see, because 12 volt doesn't take as much electricity.
Right. It doesn't pull.
So we're going to be using like the Rock Pal probably to run the 12 volts and see how that works. And we may hook the Blue Eddy up to it. We're just experimenting to see which one lasts longer, which one works, how long they will last. We have a variety of power stations.
Power stations, yeah. And the thing about it is, the Blue Eddy 1500 watt hour one, we've been using that thing now for over a week, haven't we? Around a week?
Yeah.
And we only down 2 bars on it. We let it run all night last night with the ceiling fans running and
It was
everything.
awesome to have a ceiling fan
Yeah,
going.
we sit there all night with the ceiling fan over the bed going. I said, it's going to run that thing down. I know it is. I got up this morning, and it was down 1 bar before we ever went to bed last night. We got up this morning, it was still down just 1 bar. So we cooked breakfast. I had the lights on in the kitchen. I had the lights on in the living room and everything. And right when we got ready to come out to pick, I went to switch it off, and I looked, and it clicked down 2 bars off of it.
It used 2 bars in probably about a week.
About a week.
The main lights were on just a little while off and on yesterday.
Yeah.
And the ceiling fans, one ceiling fan
ran all night.
It was awesome. I'm going to just say, I'm getting thrilled by the moment. And our water catchment, let me just mention our rain catchment
system
is full of water. I have a little video probably for Crazy Days at some point that if I get up, I am loving it. We bought a couple of hoses. We can reach the garden. I can reach my GreenStalk. I can reach plants. And we've watered 2 or 3 times several things, and it's only used a little bit of water out of the top of it. 300 gallons will last us a little while. If we can get a couple more.
Yeah, we're looking for.
I think we'll be
We're
all
looking
right.
for about 2 more 300-gallon totes like that, so that we can finish our system out. I think around 900 to 1,000 gallons of water will do us for a while over here at the cabin.
And we only use that for watering plants. We're not drinking that water.
Yeah, it's not potable water.
Now,
No.
the one thing we're looking forward to that at some point, probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks, Danny has got the pipe to run water from the well here. And we're going to put a well eventually,
We're going to eventually put a well over here with a solar pump.
but that's not doable right now. So we're going to run water from our well over here just so we have potable water here. We have the Alexa Pure that we love. We bring in water, we pour it in there. It purifies the water. We have water when we come. And we use what we want and we replace it. It's just gotten to be a habit of replacing the water as we come
the
in.
Alexa Pure from My Patriot Supply has been a lifesaver for us living off grid over here. It is so, our water tastes good anyway, but it really tastes good after it comes out of the Alexa Pure. And
Silver Fire rocket stoves.
yes.
We're really liking this thing. I took a handful of sticks. I mean, probably like this.
Literally just a few sticks, and she picked
And they
up
were
right
about
here.
this long.
Yeah.
And I cooked for an hour last night.
You cooked for a full 55. It was 55 minutes it took to cook that meal.
And it was awesome.
It was fantastic. No fuel, no cost. Everything is free. You can cook forever for free.
Yeah, take care of it. Sticks. It cooks on sticks.
That's
guys.
right. Wanda just picked up sticks around these trees right here.
And the potatoes and beans were awesome. Videos somewhere on Crazy Days eventually.
Cabin is not out in the sun. The cabin, what we've learned, I learned this years ago because of my house over yonder. You need trees all out around your house, and it needs to shade your roof as much as possible. Because as the wind comes in, because it's already, what does it say right here? It's fixing to be 80 degrees here in just a few minutes. 80 degree temperature, sun, and heat. By the time it reaches the cabin blowing up under these trees, the breeze has cooled off, and it's not hot under here. It's actually pretty comfortable. Guys, there's one thing I know that's going to blow a lot of y'all's minds. I'm fixing to say. Because you're going to think to yourself, there's absolutely no way possible. What I'm fixing to tell you is accurate. But I promise you it is. Wanda and I are only about 3 weeks away from gardening being mostly over for us.
Yeah.
I know that sounds crazy because most of y'all hadn't even planted yet. But within 3 to 4 weeks,
Yeah.
it's going to be so hot here that the only thing that we'll have in the garden will be something like sweet potatoes that takes no work once we get them growing. Corn,
Field peas.
field peas, and what few tomato plants has survived,
And peppers.
and peppers.
Things like that.
Like that will be going. But all the things that we'll be picking on a regular basis, like the English peas, digging Irish potatoes, and green beans, all that kind of stuff.
Probably all
Cucumbers.
that'll be gone.
That'll all be over with by then because it's
Within a month.
Within a month it'll be too hot. And unless I'm gonna say this, unless the grand solar minimum keeps throwing these cold fronts down here. Now if they keep throwing these cold fronts down here,
We might go up.
we might be able to go a little longer, but history teaches us that without the grand solar minimum and it cooling off, that I'm gonna say probably by
The end of May, 1st of June.
by mid-June, most of our gardening outside, with the exception, like we mentioned, of some field peas and some sweet potatoes and stuff like that, is over for us. No squash, so it'll all be gone. Now we have some spaghetti squash. We're hoping that they'll keep going.
But those type things don't require a lot of, like
They
the
don't
English
require no
peas,
maintenance.
picking every day, canning, or every couple of 3 days. Those things will go. The sweet potatoes, as long as you keep some weeds out, you don't even deal with them all summer. They're just there.
They just grow.
The peas will come in all of a sudden 1 month they'll get ready. Within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they're gone.
They're gone.
So it's not like we have things 24/7. The berries, most of the berries will be gone.
All the blueberries will be gone by then.
By the second week of June. No more blueberries.
Yep.
So we'll be winding down our harvest when y'all are just getting started.
Right.
And we will grow something throughout the summer. Any hot weather things will be growing. But
Now we will have some things in the greenhouse, I'm sure, because we'll still be experimenting with a few things in there. But other than that,
the okra will be another one that'll go through the summer.
yeah, the okra may go through it. Last year it didn't kick in until fall.
Yeah, the okra was kind of weird last year.
It was weird last year, so we'll see, guys. We'll see how this year turns out. But anyway,
Oh, Danny has an English pea manual.
I forget all the time to mention that I've wrote an English pea manual that's on our Etsy store. I take English peas just like I did sweet potatoes because I've gotten pretty good at growing English peas, and I've learned a lot about English peas. And this book I wrote actually covers everything about English peas and about that you need to know to get a great crop of English peas. So it'll be in the description down below. You'll be able to find the English pea manual, or go to deepsouthhomestead.etsy.com. The manual's over there.
And the sweet potato
And the sweet potato manual's over there.
And before long, Wanda's going to have a new cookbook. I've made the decision that when all this slows down in the next 2 to 3 weeks, I'm going to work on a cookbook and have it out. And I will let you know when you can pre-order, because I'm going to do pre-orders like I did before. And it just seems to work that way, so I have a number in my head on how many to order.
Right.
So I've not decided on a name yet. I've not decided on what the cover picture will look like. I'm pretty sure at some point that'll come to me. It's going to have gluten-free recipes. It's going to have home-cooked, using your jarred food recipes.
Home canned food recipes in it, guys. How much better can you get than that?
I will put some canning recipes, but the Bald Blue Book does pretty well with that, and I don't want to have to do that. But I have a few recipes that people ask for, like the red hot pickles and things like that. It will have some of those canning recipes, maybe a I don't remember, there's a couple of jelly recipes. There's some recipes that people ask for.
You might even put your cream of recipe in there, huh?
It's in there.
It's in there? Okay.
It's going to be in there, yeah. So there's a lot of things, substitutes, all kinds of stuff. So guys, be looking for it. A new cookbook.
Good
in
cookbook
the
with down home country cooking. That might be what we call it. Wanda's down home country cooking. I like that.
All right, guys. We're going to get off of here.
We got a lot to do.
See you later.
Thank you guys from Deep South Homestead.